just full of amazing games. So yeah, just, I mean, the days after that are also amazing. I just think tomorrow's group is like, wow, you couldn't really make it too much better. As in the top right side, we will kick off into this best of 3. In the top right, it is ByuN from the Shopify Rebellion. And in the bottom left, our blue products from the Afrika Freaks will be trapped. And as we get this one off and away, as a quick mention, we've not done this at the start of a series yet today, so better do it on this one. If you do end up watching this on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/WardiTV, don't forget to, if you enjoy it at least, leave a like, maybe leave a comment down below, and maybe subscribe to the channel as well, all of which helps our YouTube to do better and to do well and all of that kind of stuff. So, yeah, please do check that out, especially if you're watching on the YouTube. Even if you're on the Twitch chat, you can check out the YouTube too, but no pressure, no pressure. Just nice to say that at the start of games, which are likely to end up on the YouTube, of course, because, well, you know, then people know to press the buttons, and pressing the buttons is really important and really useful, so, yeah. Alright, we're going to start with an engineering bay block. So, ByuN already trying to be a little bit tricky at the start of this one. Getting that engineering bay down, just going to try and slow trap down as much as possible. Let's see if he'll come back, and we'll be just sliding out of that. I just wanted to double check maybe what was up in the main a little bit, see what exact gas count we were maybe going to be working with here. As our factory starts up at home. So that's going to be factory before we end up going into an expansion. Not surprising on the back of the engineering bay. The way the timings work out, the mineral count works out, it just makes more sense to do that a lot of the time. This probe will recall home. It is better to use the 50 energy to recall at home than it is to lose the probe. So trap will keep the probe alive, but of course that's still 50 energy paid. So nice to keep it alive, but obviously it's one less chrono boost. So he obviously got the information he wanted as well. Across the map, you already got to see, oh, right, you know, you're building a factory already, you're going into that quickly, there's no delays there or anything. So you already knew a lot of that, as we do see this starport building over on the left-hand side of the map. So again, that starport up and running. And the Stargate into the main base of Trap as well. Well, proxy Hellions is going to be a really fast proxy because it's off one base. Now, the Stargate comes up pretty quickly to defend. I'm still somewhat worried about the timing, though, for Trap. Stargate's done in 20 seconds. Medevac will be done not long after. I mean, these units are going to be in the main. If it all lines up properly, they're going to be in the main before there's a Stargate unit out. So this has got to be very, very defensive here from Trap. You got to be really careful. I love the battery in the main base. That makes a lot of sense. What do we go for? Phoenix. The Phoenix is the one thing... the Phoenix, yes, is great against this kind of aggression. The only concern I have about the Phoenix is that one Phoenix being out as the medevac's already flying in isn't necessarily a defense, right? And, you know, let's see. I mean, the thing is, you can use this Phoenix as well. You can lift up one Hellion, but you're still going to have one-shot potential to deal with. Although now the Hellion's attacked out of sync, so it's not that bad so far. So we're going to see lifts, and I guess we're just going to run down to the natural expansion as the Hellions will drop back down. Obviously, the Phoenix couldn't attack the medevac because, well, it was lifting the Hellion up. And this medevac still... Oh, no, the Adepts just committed their shade. So now they've committed their shade. We're going to see these Hellions back in the main looking for more damage. 10 probes going down. Beautiful control out of ByuN. Really good movement on these Hellions and the medevac. And just going to get a little bit final damage done. Going to drain the battery fully of energy. We'll go down to the natural. And might even just escape with this Hellion. Keep a bit of map control with it. As 12 probes have gone down. Probes were pulled from mining a couple times over as well. That's always a good aid to you as well in those scenarios. Yeah, that is gonna do it for the moment for sure. That's gonna be a really good start for ByuN. Now remember, he needed to do damage a little bit because he was on the later command center this game. This was a one-base setup to begin with. However, he has more than justified the one-base startup. And I mean, being ahead on workers at any point as a Terran is always going to be good for you, and that's exactly where he's at. So great position for ByuN. He's got a bit of a bio follow-up after this as well. Good amount of Marines in this Cyclone. These Adepts commit in. They want to deal damage. They want to get some SCVs back, knowing he needs to even out the economy game, but In trying to do so, he will lose every single adept, and so you give up a lot of army for, well, 3 SCVs? That's alright. The Phoenix will come in and do some damage too, and Trap is starting to claw his way back into the worker lead. I'm just, yeah, very concerned about the fact he just lost all of his adepts, and now his Phoenix don't have energy. This means his army just doesn't do anything right now. Double Cyclone and Marines walking across the map. There is no defenses in place for Trap. I mean, he just dies. This battery's going to go down. These Marines are coming over. I just don't think you can save this. I mean, you already killed a battery here. You're going to be able to kill the pile that unpowers the gateway, one of the 2 gateways in the game. Loses the lock-on. Didn't have the scan quite in time to properly deal with that. Now we get rid of the Oracle right away. I mean, it's all well and good lifting everything up with these Phoenix, but when you're lifting everything up and, well, you don't have any damage output, it doesn't make much of a difference. GG from Trap. The initial drop did enough. And ByuN goes up 1-0 in this best of 3. As we have in the top right corner of the map from the Afrika Freaks, this is Trap. Up against the blue Terran in the bottom left-hand corner from the Shopify Rebellion, it is ByuN. Alright, well, game number 2. Let's see what will happen. I like ByuN's choice in the last game. Honestly, made a lot of sense. Get very aggressive very quickly. We're going to show up and nibble that SCV a little bit and just put some pressure on, force another SCV to pull, of course. Once more, we have the engineering bay block from ByuN across the map, so very similar setup. Well, this probe is hard chasing that SCV. That's a lot of lost mining from that one probe. There was no benefit to chasing that SCV so far away, I don't think. Like, guarantees it goes really far away, but then, I mean, this probe still isn't even back to mining, right? So that's something that does kind of add up. Hey, Cam8895, oh, sorry, 8985, got the numbers wrong. Thank you so much for the 200 bits in the chat, I really appreciate that. As our Cybercore finishes from Trap here. So, and the probe gonna nibble through this engineering bay as well. Gonna take that down, just gonna be seeing our factory and our reactor continuing through at the moment. So all of this getting set up. Adept coming in. We really are just going to go for the exact same build at this rate here. Factory onto the reactor. First Hellion starts. And so we'll start up in the main base as well. It's just being very cautious, making sure he doesn't fall to a counter-attack. It's going to be seeing our Phoenix opening again. You can see the timings of this a little bit different, right? I mean, this time, this Phoenix, I mean, it's still going to be, it'll be a little bit earlier, but still, I guess, somewhat similar to the last game. Problem is, the 2 Adepts and the Zealots are across the map, and that's kind of interesting because they're going to end up fighting these Hellions, which will slow the Hellions down, but it also creates a scenario where if they go down, you don't have as many units to defend with. They will shade away. I think this is great. If you can get them back, well, he actually has them off to the right-hand side, so those units will stick around. Like I say, the delay on these Hellions getting across buys you time for a second Phoenix, which will probably mean, as there's a lone probe over there that ByuN didn't quite spot. Double Phoenix obviously just goes a long way right now. Some probes are low ground, though. To go down, gonna lift up, go to the main base. He actually ends up dropping that one Hellion back down. It's small because it gets rid of the one-shot potential, but there's no batteries this time, as we do actually have these Hellions already moving through. 8 workers going down, and, well, ByuN not going to find the 12 workers he found last game. And he finds 9, which is still really not a bad startup. I'm going Cyclo Marine after this as well, so very similar to what we just saw last time around. That starport coming through after the second barracks. Yeah, and I mean, good enough damage for ByuN to once again come out in a worker lead, and, well, again, we talked about that last time around. The good news for Trap is it's less workers lost, and he didn't invest into batteries this time around, so there's a couple of better parts of this as well in general. As you see, our probe still just coming through, and our Phoenix just going to pick away at this starport. On the bottom side of the map, our adepts are going to continue to come through. Just going to be seeing this Phoenix continuing over. Fight starts out, we are going to be seeing obviously just getting straight up here. This time Trappers have had a very successful attack, and this time it's ByuN that doesn't have the units to really defend against this here. The Widowmine lining up, gets a Zealot, but the Phoenix and a couple of Adepts remaining continue to do well. Picks off that Widowmine. It's going to be seeing the Phoenix coming back through. One Marine still firing. Bit of a storm. Bit of a wild few moments right there as ByuN does lose a lot. I mean, big difference from last game, right? Just able to jump on everything. The Phoenix getting a lot more involved. Just a bit more of a successful time in general, dealing with the attack a bit sooner. And yeah, Trap puts himself into a stellar position this time around. Just really, I mean, a complete contrast to that first game. Yeah, Phoenix coming through, and there is a Marine that gets taken down. The siege tank gonna siege up. The Phoenix come through though, and they are gonna feel a bit more damage. The Oracle will get rid of a few more Marines. There really just is not an army here for ByuN anymore, right? I mean, a couple Marines, this Oracle will trade out for them. And these Phoenix will get a lift on an SCV. I thought they maybe could have gotten the siege tank there, actually. Thought they maybe could have gotten the siege tank there, as you see. Charged on behind this, and Trap definitely looking very confident with his follow-up. Looking pretty good across the board on how he gets set up from this point onwards. Phoenix move in, a couple of SCVs get lifted off. These few Marines try and zone out those Phoenix once again. It's just pushing them back through to the center of the map wherever possible. Oracle comes in, drops a revelation. Yeah, Phoenix coming back in toward the main base where they'll try and get active. Just going to drop a new revelation down, so some Marines going to get struck by that. ByuN in this game, I mean, it's basically going to come down to one big Marine tank attack. This is a situation where absolutely it's... If you don't deal with this one big attack initially, you don't actually have much hope behind you, right? Because then Trap's got a third base, his worker count's really good. Typically, a Terran takes the third later anyway. You can see ByuN just adds 2 more racks, so he's absolutely going to stick to the idea of just being aggressive and staying aggressive. Going to be seeing our Zard sentries on the top side. I mean, the one thing right now is, honestly, it's not a very well teched up army. It's like pure Zealot Phoenix with no armor upgrade either. A fight like right now, honestly, might not be that bad for ByuN. He's got the SCVs as well. I actually really don't hate it. The bunker goes down. ByuN realizes maybe that that Trap really wants to rely on this position here. And, well, Archon's just already had nice force fields, but now the force fields will work against the Zealots. The tank's going to put in some good work here, too. Maybe just a bit too much Protoss in the end anyway, as we do see only tanks remaining at the very end of this. A few Marines, just a bit too much Trap. Really nice try, though, for ByuN. I saw the potential there, right? You know, there's no armor upgrade right away. The Zelds are in trouble. Those two Archons making a big difference, getting to morph in too. And yeah, only that one pylon also empowering the base definitely hurts too. That could have been a bigger deal for sure. Let's see another tank setting up. These couple of Marines coming around. We are just going to be seeing our Phoenix picking away at a few more work units. Reinforcements not allowed to come out. ByuN has got units on the map. He's going to try and maybe intercept the Phoenix. But Trap's already turned them back close towards the main. One of them even still just squeaking out of there alive. Able to slide out of that as +1 attack, and Storm continues on through. I'm just going to be seeing Trap moving to the bottom of the map. As our Phoenix going to get turned away once again by the Marine Tank Force. Phoenix out around the left as the tank going to unsiege, and just going to see the Phoenix back into the main base as, well, SCVs will pull one more time. I mean, basically just got to try a last-ditch effort right for this ByuN. Makes sense, not much else to be done. He's going to get met halfway across the map, so the SCVs don't even join the fight before the tanks go down, and it's just an Archon count you're not really meant to beat with pure Marine, unfortunately, as this is going to go. I mean, good for us, though. It means that we get to go to a Game 3. So that's very good news for us, as we kind of need some Game 3s right now. Some of these games... A final map of ByuN and Trap. Fighting for possible top spot in this group, of course. Still will depend on how some of the other results go. If ByuN wins this, he's in the bottom right, our blue Terran, obviously Trap, our red Protoss top left. If ByuN wins this game, he would be 3-0, right? Beat Mana, beat Vanya. He'd be 3-0 with Bly left to play. So that would pretty much set you up to be in a good space to take first place. Even if you lost against Bly or something, a win here, you get to 3-1 or so. I mean, that's already looking good when considering that Trap would be 1-2. It would be kind of down to Mana or so to kind of maybe steal that top spot away from you. So that's where things stand right now. Might make for an interesting... we might have an interesting kind of run down to the finish of this group, actually. It should be pretty fun to see what the final positions are going to turn out like. As we get into Game 3 of it all right now. Light shade our map, we get this set up, and we figure out what the hell these guys are going to bring. Because for the first time, we're already seeing no... we're seeing no engineering bay blocks. That's already a big difference from ByuN, from the previous two games, where the engineering bay blocked into basically a one-base starport proxy each time. So that's already changing up a pretty significant amount, as these couple of SCVs are going to come and continue to drill that probe, and make progress wherever possible, and just push it away. CC gets to start, and it's a tech lab opening, so once again, we're going back to something we saw him doing against Mana, which is to go into the couple of Marauders and to put some pressure on like that. Lightshade is a shorter map, so it's an easier map to come across to the other side on. And if you get across to the map, to the other side of the map with those Marauders, you can obviously put on a fair amount of pressure as well. So there are definitely some options for you in that regard. So a few different choices right now coming up. A few different options. There's that Twilight Council from Traps moving away from the Stargate opening. Obviously, no engineering bay block maybe is his chance to say, right, I don't feel like I need a Stargate defensively, so I'm going to go Twilight instead. And we'll see what he can do with that as the Marine pushes the probe around a little bit. Just going to see the probe continue to get chased away. The couple of barracks going to be finishing. The stim pack coming through. We do have that blink again just starting now from Trap as, oh, gets the Stalker kill this time. He obviously is not going to miss that, as that's exactly what he had the chance to do against Mana earlier and kind of whiffed. So, yeah, nicely handled this time around. Absolutely making the most of exactly what you're meant to do here, right? That's exactly what's meant to happen. Catch that Stalker and go from there. As our two Marauders are now going to show up against just a single Adept. Battery isn't ready. Do we need to pull probes here? Oh, a Stalker might be in some trouble. He's going to put some damage on the battery. I don't think ByuN's in the immediate kind of like, I must deal damage here. I think just forcing the battery, as I talked about in an earlier game, is a lot of the time good enough, and it seems to be enough for ByuN. Killing a Stalker, forcing a battery, to kill this probe as well, as he does just have Stim on the way. Good amount of Marines building, and we set up into this game 3 with a bit of bio. A bit of bio will definitely be able to ramp up the pressure, of course, and put on a good amount of damage, most likely. So, I like that. I like the setup for that, as we do see a couple of gates being brought through. Obviously, Trap choosing to go for the 3-gate setup on this blink. And, well, it gives him kind of that middling ground of he'll still get a fairly quick third base, around 5 minutes. He'll also be able to still put on a decent amount of Stalker pressure, but it's nothing overly committed or anything along those lines. So, like I say, it strikes a nice little in-between amongst a lot of the different options that you have here when you play the PvT blink openings. Marine Marauder is ready to jump into the bunkers. We'll just see the Stalkers and the Sentry coming through a little bit. Robo Base still coming up. And, yeah, so far, just, I mean, Starport still moving through, Marauder coming in. Just gonna see our Stalker coming out as well. Our Bio Army of ByuN is going to be moving through into the middle of the map. The Bioforce comes across to the top. It's going to be come through. I mean, that Nexus goes down, as we do have a Stalker just blinking out of there. That's going to Stim turn around, and ooh, Stalker's just about escaping away. A Sentry will go down. Ooh, I don't like that force field that goes down either. And a lot of this fight's happening outside of battery range. Giving ByuN just some extra trade. Stalker's not going back into the battery either. Super battery pops, as ByuN has not really much of a choice other than to keep fighting, and maybe actually moved himself into more trouble than he needed to be. I actually think he could have killed another Stalker if he just kept on fighting. Instead, he kind of moved backwards, and in moving back, he lost some shots. Still a good trade from ByuN. Obviously, Trap builds that Immortal to help you survive in this scenario. So the resources lost is going to be in ByuN's favor. He got rid of 2 Sentries. They are very important that aren't now on the map. At least there's a Colossus on the way up, so that we can help Trap defend this third base, which is going to be a pretty late third base in the end. You know, that's going to be delayed pretty heftily as well. Obviously, Colossus coming up a bit faster, but with the 3 gates, I really expected Trap to be dealing with a third base way sooner than he is. So yeah, that is also a pretty big deal right now, as we do at least have a few Stalkers going to delay the third CC of ByuN, so that's something at least. Medevacs come up to the top, and I'm going to be aiming for the main bases. I'll be looking to drop on in. Bit of bio through the center of the map as well. Our Medevacs decided to turn away. Still chasing through, going to grab a Zealot, and now going to get this pylon as well. We've got another army from ByuN is setting up in the middle of the map. A couple of Colossi definitely scary at this point. We see the Prism coming up too, so maybe Trap really looking to make something happen with a push here. You know, he doesn't have Forges or anything, right? So he's really kind of just set up to attack. And if he just attacks, that could put ByuN in trouble, just because, again, you're not well set to really deal with Colossi just yet. More than anything else. The Bio just going to unload. Some Stalkers going to be in some trouble as the Natural comes under fire, as the main base gets dropped as well. I mean, honestly, Trap has a pretty good spread of units to start defending this. It's the main base that's the main issue. I thought he actually might have been able to do okay there for a while longer. A couple units on the third base get dealt with. But yeah, the main base is not being handled well at all, as Trap loses so many probes. And this pressure is going a long way right now. Actually really adding up a little bit at the moment. Going a long way, as we do have our Bioforce going to get a couple of pylons as well. Widowmine hits some sentries middle of the map. I mean, Trap is basically trying to counterattack with 2 Colossi, but that does not exactly put you into the greatest of positions. ByuN looking as though he's about to open up into a 3-0 setup in this group with Bly left to play. There it is. ByuN gets the 2-1 over Trap and is going to put himself into prime position to get out of this group into the playoffs and maybe even straight into the round of 8.